The turnout was above expectations recently for the People's Climate March. The event took place in New York City, and it was meant as a forceful message to world leaders, but many of the participants were activists from Boston. Two of them are with us tonight from a program based in Roxbury, Alternatives for Community and Environment. We'd like to welcome the Executive Director, Kalila Barnett, and a youth organizer with the Roxbury Environmental Empowerment Project, Dushawn Gennis. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
I'll start with Dushawn. Talk about your impressions of this march.
My impressions, for me, this is my first year working here, so I never really experienced nothing like it. It was just it was all new to me. I seen people really taking this seriously. It really meant something to them. And so when they was screaming out, shouting, doing their chants and stuff, they wasn't just doing it to do it. They was doing it because they had something to say about what was going on.
Kalila, why is this kind of an event so important to the kind of work that ACE does?
Sure. One of the things that we like to do at ACE is mobilize and bring our voices and our messages to the streets, to the public, so that our ideas, that our people, our faces can be seen by decision makers, can be seen by the public at large, so that people will feel there is a movement that people can join around addressing climate change.
Well, coming back to Dushawn, what do you see with climate change that you worry about the most, or that affects you the most?
That affects me, it's just big companies and stuff, all the you know how cars and stuff, all the gas and pollution that goes into the air from those, that really affects people, because in Roxbury, people, there's a higher asthma rate in Roxbury than anywhere else in Boston. So all that pollution in the air and stuff is going to make people with asthma, and respiratory problems even worse. It's going to be hard for them.
Kalila, I imagine, with all the growth, that could be more of a problem. I know there have been some steps to mitigate this too, but how do you see this working out?
I think we need a multi-pronged strategy and approach to really address this issue. And I think it begins with listening to the people that are most directly affected. So one of the things that was really exciting about the Climate March is that the front of the march was led by communities of color, was led by indigenous communities, people that are on the front lines of the climate crisis, people that are living with the fossil fuel industry literally in their backyards. And so if we're going to transition away to a healthier, safer economy, it needs to begin with addressing the issues that are most upfront with frontline communities. And so that, I think, is one of the best places for us to begin to address the issue.
Dushawn, did you meet some people at this march who've had some struggles with climate change?
It's when I was there, we was doing the march and everything, but it's just no one really came up to us and talked to us, but we just seen a lot of people there who they was taking it seriously, but I really didn't get to meet anyone who had personal problems with it themselves.
Yeah. As far as the kinds of people you saw, what were they?
I seen people they're dressed differently. It was just you know how you see regular people dressed on the streets and everything. There was some people they would just have their shirts on and some some Tarzan stuff. I don't know what they were trying to say by it, but it just was it grabbed me. I never seen anything like it before.
Kalila, do you think this march really had much effect? Because I know there was a meeting of world leaders that took place a little after this, and then you read these stories saying that a lot of these countries like China, they're reluctant to slow down their economic growth and their greenhouse gas output. I mean, our greenhouse gas output is getting bigger because our economy is getting better. So it seems you can't win.
It does feel like that sometimes, but part of what was encouraging about it is that we see this march as a part of a broader movement. And so we wanted to have our voices out there and put pressure on world leaders, but we're not depending only on the UN decisions and this year and next year in order to make a change around this. Every day, communities folks in Roxbury, across the country, in New York City are doing work that is building local solutions to this. And so we are building building a movement of resistance to business as usual. And so at some point, our movement is going to get so big and so powerful that they will not be able to ignore this issue and will have to do something.
At ACE, what kind of local solutions have you been working on?
Yeah, so one of the ones that we've been working on for a long time is the issue of public transportation. So we believe that in order to have a city that is sustainable, we have to look at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and we have to look at safe and affordable ways for people to be able to get around in large numbers. And so part of that is having a robust and affordable public transportation system. So that's why the young people at REAP work on issues like the Youth Pass, and it's why the T-Riders Union is continuing to make sure that there's early morning service for workers, and that we have a T that is safe for everyone.
Dushawn, you've been working on this transportation issue?
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Since we started working here, we've just been we've been trying to get the pilot going since I started being a member. They've been trying to get the pilot going since then, but it's just we're almost there with it, but just not quite yet.
Does this make you think differently about what you want to do beyond going to school?
Yeah, a little. It's just like before I worked here, I never really knew much about all this environmental stuff. But then it started opening my eyes to how serious everything is. It's just you know how we get food from different states and stuff. That's why we're doing this little garden team thing. We go around trying to get more gardens open so we can plant stuff, have organic foods and stuff like that.
Right. And Kalila, I guess the thing is here, all these issues overlap because on the one hand this is about the environment, but it's also about health too.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the challenges with climate change is that it's been framed as sort of a scientific and kind of technical solution. If we could only invent something that would get us out of this problem, but it's really about people and their relationship to the economy and relationship to the earth. And so if we're able to really think about how do we make sure that the solutions that we build address the health issues that our communities are facing, address the economic issues that our communities are facing, then we're getting to a place where we can have a real kind of just transition.
Well, if people want to keep track of what's going on with ACE, I guesse you've got a website or a Facebook page they can look at.
Yeah, we have both a website and a Facebook page, www.ace-ej.org. We also have a Facebook that we're on quite frequently, and we're also on Twitter.
All right, thank you both very much. Dushawn Gennis and Kalila Barnett from
Thank
ACE.
you.
Up ahead, the Jamaica Plain Report with Christina Rugnetta.